do this.
The growth of the youngsters continues to shine, but the Jazz get thumped by the Phoenix Suns tonight in a blowout loss in the Valley of the Sun. Final score tonight, 134-109. It's Postcast David Locke along with Ron Boone tonight. And Ron, I think the story of the night to me, particularly early, is Kyle Filipowski finishes with 26 points, new season high, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 14. The Jazz are minus 12 when he's on the floor tonight. Most of that coming in the second half. The other night, Kyle Filipowski was plus, I think, 15 when he was on the floor. We've seen maybe the 2 best games of Kyle Filipowski's career back-to-back.
Yeah, and why? Because he's doing it inside out. David, he's able to knock down a couple of three-point shots here tonight, but boy, he has just been scoring in the paint, back to the basket, spinning over the left shoulder, whatever it takes. But, 10 for 14, and then the ball game he had last night, that's just he did play a little bit in the fourth quarter here tonight, but he didn't play the other night.
He's done some things differently. He's playing off the bounce with a little bit more like he did at Duke, where he really drove to the basket, went aggressively. He attacked the rim hard the last few games. What else have you seen from him that's been a little different in the last game or two?
Well, his spin move at the rim is definitely been scoring for him against the guys that he's playing against. But he's very efficient. You look at the shooting percentage, 10 for 14. The three-point line is something that he's been struggling with for a little bit, so he makes a couple of three-point shots here tonight. But, he's still rebounding the basketball, and he does distribute the basketball there as well, David. But what we're looking at is his surge offensively, something he was struggling with there for a little bit.
What's interesting for the Jazz about Kyle, and he did not have a great defensive game. He got put in space. They switched 1 through 5. That's always going to be an issue for him. Here's what's really interesting to me is when we start trying to project next season. If you assume for a moment that the roster for next year is Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson, Lauri, Markkanen in the front court, and that they sign a backup center, then Kyle's role really becomes the 5th big.
Yeah.
Because Jaren Jackson's going to play 30 whatever minutes at the 4. Maybe he plays some 5 minutes, but maybe not. He's not, that's not his forte. Lauri's going to play 36, 37 minutes a night, but some of it's going to be at the 3, some of it's going to be the 4. There's probably going to be some lineups where Jaren plays the 5 and Lauri plays the 4. There's probably going to be some lineups where Jaren's out of the game and Lauri slides to the 4 when somebody comes off the bench. So Kyle very well may end up being the 5th big on a roster, and he might be very good at that because if you're injured and he's got to play some backup center, it's not ideal, but he's your 3rd best center, and if you have a backup center and you have Jaren and you have Walker, you can probably cover him so he doesn't have to do it for long. If Lauri or Jaren's missing some games, and neither of these 2 guys have shown that they're playing more for various reasons, but playing over 55, 60 games, he can play the 4 a little bit. Like, he might really be a perfect, and he's $3 million next year, which is cheap. It might be really the perfect guy to have as your 5th big in your roster.
So I'm looking at this while you're talking, and I'm thinking, okay, so he's playing out of position. Has that hurt him to the point where he has not had the chance to play the forward position all season long, where he can develop certain things during the course of a basketball game? And then there's the other part where he's been playing the center position, and if you look at it the way you're looking at it now, there's a couple of different ways they can use him next year. The center position and at the forward position, because, he's played the center position all season long. And if they have to throw him in there, then he could give him a few minutes and get the job done. So you look at that and you think, okay, has it hurt him as much as it helped him as far as getting minutes on the floor for this basketball game?
I might be swaying. I've thought it hurt him all year. I might be swaying to it's been difficult, but it'll be helpful for his long-term future. He's shown me a lot. Here in the last few weeks, he has looked like a guy that can – I've always thought he's of the young guys past Keyonte, he's the one who most likely has a role on the roster. Money things and other things are going to get complicated for some of the other players in the reality of the way this league works. So, but I think he's looked better to me in so many realms that, and maybe it is just getting more and more opportunities to do these things in more difficult circumstances, and he's figuring it out.
Yeah, and I'm leaning that way as well. Even though, a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, David, you were thinking, boy, he's really helping this team playing out of position because of Nurkic's injury and the fact that we didn't really have a backup center, and so, but you look at this long term, and you look at this as far as the season is concerned next year. You're probably absolutely right. So
now,
it's probably helped him more so than anything.
And I thought a lot of his defensive possessions were pretty good tonight. He got scored on a lot, but I thought he had a pretty good. But the reality is that is going to be always the issue, is that whenever he comes, when we're playing games this time of year that matter. So if we're playing that Philadelphia-Charlotte game that played today, or we were playing Phoenix right now, battling for 6 and 7 next year in a game, Kyle Filipowski comes on the floor and Devin Booker is calling him out every single time first play. That's going to tonight was a little less so because there's just not. These games are, when you're down by 30, these games are a little easy in that sense.
Yeah.
But that will be the reality, is that whenever he does get in a game that matters, as we hope they will matter next year, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, they're all going to be like, Kyle, come here, Kyle.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's dance. And that's going to be the question, is whether he can handle that.
Well, and then you get a coach. Okay, if that happens, we got to get creative defensively.
Yeah.
And make some things happen. And you have veteran players that have been around for a while. They can read what's going on out there on the floor, or should be able to read what's going on out there on the floor, and put them in that scramble help defense and maybe cover up for him. But to consistently get called out, that's, sometimes that's kind of embarrassing if you want to look at it.
But you got to be able to survive. That's going to be it's going to be the story of him. All right. We had a new old friend return, and we had some really tired legs. We'll touch on that next when we continue on POSTCAST. Today's show is brought to you in part by Robinhood. If you ever wanted to be able to have your impact on the sporting event and what's taking place, well, Robinhood has it for you now. With Robinhood, what if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. You always knew the game, never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now you can live the part in a market powered by the people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now across the U.S., download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission and merchant swap. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. Nothing like being in the arena for the big event, the big moment, the big concert, whatever it might be. And Game Time is going to make it easy for you. Game Time is the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without hassle. It puts the advantage back to where it belongs with you, the fan. Pull the Game Time app up, pick up the upcoming game, have the tickets locked in minutes. You get all upfront pricing, no surprises at checkout. A view from your seat and zone deals will stand out. You choose the section. Game Time picks the seats. Great last-minute options, too, with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. You see my text? You were in trouble. He's locked on NBA for $20 off your purchase. That's locked on. $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time app today. Remember, it's gametime.co, not GameTime.com. And the show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Get into the action with college basketball and the tournament, buzzer beaters, brackets, upsets, nonstop action. Tip to the final cut right now. FanDuel's giving you customers a new way to stay in the action all tournament long. Here's the best part. $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. That makes 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. You can mix it however you want. Game picks, futures, even some same-game parlays for big potential. It's perfect for the tournament because every day there's something new, different matchups, new storylines, new ways to get involved. Visit FanDuel.com. Visit FanDuel.com to get into the action today. That's FanDuel.com.
Shameless.
Tim, our good friend Tim Kempton pestering us over here behind the camera. All right, great to see you, my friend. Enjoy the playoffs. Johnny Bloom, have a good playoffs. Svi Mykhailiuk came back to life tonight.
Boy, you got to love him.
Yeah.
Just flat out have to love him. Plus, he's a great dude, man. I mean, he's nice and he speaks and he does all these things. And that has to be that player that can make an impact on a game every time.
Well, you asked Will Hardy an interesting question pregame tonight. Tell people what you asked him and what Will had to say.
Well, you're looking at this team going forward. So, and you're thinking, obviously the conversation was based around John Conchart. because he is that guy that I think can make that impact on a game in a short period of time. And coaches would love a guy like that. I mean, he becomes a rotation player, can go in 15 minutes a ball game, he's on the floor. And Will was very much, on board with something like that. And he went a little deeper on what they look for and how to coach a situation like that. But, it's something that I think is important.
What I loved about Will said, and I will not forget, is Will said that after the seventh guy in the rotation, you are looking for people with specific needs to your roster.
Yes.
And that gets really interesting. That's an Elijah Harkless. That's an Isaiah Collier. That's a Svi Mikhailuk. That's a John Conchar. Maybe that's a Kyle Filipowski that we were just talking about.
Right.
Who is 6 and 7 on next year's roster? Probably not defined right now.
Correct.
One of them is probably one of the draft picks, and then somebody that you acquire or do something with. But it's or it's your backup center. And that's, if you re-sign Yusuf Nurkic, then it's your draft pick and Yusuf Nurkic, and then 7, 8, 9, and then 8, 9, and 10 are specific roles like he's talking about. Bryce deserves a little shout out tonight. He was pretty solid also, by the way, with 26. Just your thoughts. Both Ace and Cody just looked completely exhausted.
Yeah, Cody looked really tired, and obviously he's playing in front of his family. Just nothing went right for him tonight. And whether it's back home has anything to do with it or back to back, it just didn't look like he just didn't have it going.
It's too bad. A tough night to have that at home when you go 0 for 9 in front of your home fans and minus 31. Last year he was a meme because he was minus 30, 40 in a game, and he'll probably get it again.
950.
950 bus. That means we're out.
Yeah.
Your stars tonight?
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. We have Filipowski, Sensabaugh, and obviously Steve.
Steve Mikhailuk gets the third one.
What about Chandler now? You think?
Yeah, sure.
He didn't really stand out doing a lot of stuff, but he was,
How many assists?
Eight assists, 23 minutes, 5 for 9 shooting. Sometimes guys come up with steals that make something happen or that type of thing. Didn't really see any of that, but I think he probably deserves one as well.
Kids battling.
Yeah.
All right. Kennedy Chandler gets one as well. Thanks. By the way, the story on the quarter zip is it actually wasn't as bad tonight. This is the broadcast site that usually has the brutal air conditioning, and it wasn't so bad tonight. So we brought it out. All right. Have a great one. Thanks very much for tuning in. Back with you Monday for Locked on Jazz.